Let's watch the sun come up over the fields. Let's walk in silence together alone. Let's wait till morning and then we'll go home. You're here beside me, all silver and gold. What lives I've lived for you, what love you've shown, a mind so haunted is bathed in such bliss. I trade the world for a moment of this. You whisper to me that daylight is near. The night is over, and so is the fear. The veil has lifted, illusion has died. The voice of the angel is calling tonight. I see the dawn and I'm ready to leave. I'll walk down that road, no, I'll be free. The play is over and the battle is won. It's time for morning. It's time to go home.
Hello, everyone, and good evening to another interesting story session of reflections where we hear stories to recharge and rejuvenate. And today I am very happy to welcome my friend May Chong. So welcome, May. May has been studying Raj Yoga meditation with the Brahma Kumaris since the last 14 years. She is originally from Malaysia and travels between Australia and Malaysia due to her work in the interior design and construction sector. May has a keen interest in understanding people and creating harmony in relationships. And as I know May personally, she's a very caring, loving, and a simple person. And that's what I like about her. And today, May is going to share an interesting story about a time when there was a difficult situation in a family and how spiritual awareness gave her an internal power and how that carried her forward in her spiritual journey. So a very warm welcome, May, and very eager to listen to the story. So over to you.
Thanks, Lata Ben. Thanks for that sweet introduction. When I was asked to share this particular experience of mine came to mind because it brought to me how spiritual awareness or spiritual knowledge of the soul actually helps us through our life. So I wanted to share this particular story where my grandma passed away. So my grandma was 94 years old and she was staying in a retirement village in Melbourne. And I was one of her favorite grandchild. I would visit now and then, clip her nails and crack some jokes to make her laugh. I would tell her that she looked 10 years younger after I applied lotion on her skin, and it never failed to make her giggle. So a week before she left the body, I took her out for lunch and noticed that she didn't have appetite to eat. Her health decline was sudden and happened over 3 days while I was in Sydney. And it was when I was about to take my flight back to Melbourne when I heard that she left the body. I received the call. So during the flight back, although I was not physically present with her, I felt I was with her all the way. And the feeling was that I was with her in my thoughts. And just through my thought, I could sense that she was well, she was supported and in a good space. So generally when one leaves the body or when we are conscious that we're a soul, or in other words, soul conscious, we are not bound by the limits of time and space. So one could also read this up actually from documented accounts on near-death experiences. And it has always fascinated me on how fast, unlimited, and liberated souls are when they are not bound by the body. And wherever their thoughts go, they are there in a second. So that's how fast the soul is when they realize, you're running on thought energy. And so throughout the flight coming back to Melbourne, there was actually no effort to stay with my grandma in my thoughts. Even as I could feel her all the way through. And even as I landed, I was prepared to take a taxi home alone to get my car. But the friend who was traveling with me at that time refused to let me go alone. She was concerned that during such a time, I should not be left alone to do this. But I was totally fine. I was stable. I was clear. I just knew what I had to do. And there was no rush. There was no worry or anxiety at all. So when I got home, I just took my car immediately and went to the hospital. And when I got there, there was several other extended family members in the room. But my grandma's body was already taken away. And I was told that was just about 1 or 2 minutes before I arrived. I think that most people would feel that they had just missed the chance to see someone for the last time. But I felt as if I have been with her for the last 2 to 3 hours. And I felt like I missed nothing, regardless, even though the body was taken away. So for the next few days, many family members from overseas started to fly back to Melbourne. And the whole experience was actually very beautiful because there was so much harmony and unity amongst the family members. They were very much together and cooperative in making all the arrangements, despite ongoing family quarrels and problems. But it was just so smooth during that time. So during the funeral service, I was one of 2 people to give a eulogy, and I represented the grandchildren of that generation that represented all the grandchildren that my grandmother had. And it was a big family because grandma had 9 children. So overall, the experience was an unforgettable one for me because it proves to me how having spiritual awareness is so helpful, and it carries you through almost seamlessly with stability. And in that experience, there was no effort and there was sweetness throughout the whole process. So, when we have that state of knowledge, we would not be deceived by the temporary. And when we are in the state of truth, we would not be deceived by the falsehood of the temporary body. So I never felt that I lost my grandmother or I felt sorrow in her leaving the body, but I felt like I had good wishes for her all the way, and I could be with her in my thoughts. I don't have to be there. I could just be with her regardless. The other thing about this is that I realized that when we are in the state of giving, naturally that one-way energy exchange protects us from any sorrow. Somehow when the energy is going out, the energy of sorrow just doesn't come in naturally. So when we give love and understanding, there's no sense of loss or sorrow there. And, we just don't take in sorrow from thoughts such as someone is dead, someone's gone. And regardless, even if it's not just about issues about people leaving the body, even when there's matters that one could take sorrow from in ordinary daily situations, when we have good wishes for someone, when we have understanding for someone or compassion for what they are going through, that state of love in which we are able to give just protects us from taking in any sorrow. So in this way, I am very thankful for this personal experience, because once we have personal experience as proof, the proof of the strength of spiritual understanding and spiritual knowledge of the spirit, that we are beyond the body, we are eternal, and we are the being behind the body, not the body itself. And we've had a long story before this birth, and we will continue to have a long story after this current birth. So the story carries on, and it's the story that matters, the whole story, not just one birth, not just one finite birth. So this spiritual knowledge showed me how such an internal strength was able to keep me very stable, but very soft and compassionate and loving at the same time. So that's my sharing for today. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take any.
Very interesting story. Like a few points that I kind of gathered from the story is like what a difference it makes of knowing the truth and not being aware.
Yeah.
Like be it the state of mind or the experience we go through at such times, because we can take so much grief and sorrow if we think differently, but when we think or when we know the truth and think on those lines, as you shared, it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And it's not like it's you could say what we learn, you know, in this spiritual study, loving and detached, not detached and cold and having no feelings, but it's the ability to be loving and giving. And somehow in that giving, you don't take any sorrow. That's my experience. It's just amazing how when positive energy is flowing out, it just gives no chance for any negative energy to be flowing in.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Like I'm just trying to visualize that, these powerful rays or vibrations, beautiful and pure thoughts going into the atmosphere or to the soul, and how it's kind of giving them support and giving them our good wishes, and wherever the journey is, they go in peace and happiness. So it's like supporting the journey when we are giving.
Yeah. And I always felt that if you can visualize that soul in your mind, you are already present with that soul. So it's like not bound by, it's nothing to do with the physical time and space or boundaries. It's like you feel, you're there, and they feel as well at the same time. Yeah.
That's like faster than anything we know of at the moment, I think. Faster than any
That is the
rocket or
truth.
light or
That's the
yeah.
truth, because we forget it. You know, that's why people who have near-death experiences and you read about their stories, it's like amazing. It's like just through that one thought, they are there in far, far away with whoever they were thinking about, like the sister in London, you know, and there, and he could just see what the sister did and what she was saying. And in just a second. So it's like,
Yeah.
if it's in your mind, you're there. It's like, that's the actual truth about the unlimitedness of the soul. But I'm very thankful that having spiritual knowledge is like we have the chance to experience such so-called bliss sometimes without having to wait till we leave the body.
Yeah,
No?
that's so interesting that you say that living in the body, but experience something beyond this body,
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
yeah, yeah. So it's an amazing opportunity to have that. We have the capacity to do that. Not wait till, not wait
Yes.
till we have to leave the body to realize how liberated we are when we are not bound by the consciousness of the body.
And the power of the mind, as they say,
Mm.
the soul or the mind, that how thoughts can travel with such speed and energy and reach any corner
Yeah,
wherever we
yeah,
want.
yeah. And
And also, yeah.
I mean, also, nowadays, I'm sure a lot of people also find that you think about someone that you haven't spoken to for a long time, and then soon after a day or two, they give you a call.
Yes. How did you know? I
Yeah,
just thought about you.
yeah. You see,
Yeah.
that's how amazing the thought travels, how it travels.
Oh, yes. And the uh, phrase you used, loving and detached, I think reminds me of the lotus flower. Like we have it on the background now. Yes. So it's like so
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. It's detached yet it's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it spreads love, but it's detached from the water, the mushy water. It's in.
yeah.
So sweet. And how, as part of the story, you mentioned about a friend who was with you that time. So, did you think that she reacted differently than you? Of course, you were in a different
Oh,
state of mind, but
she's much more senior in the spiritual knowledge than I am. But it just shows, how doesn't mean that you are she is one example to me how balanced one can be. You can have spiritual knowledge, but yet a lot of compassion for people and very real. She's very real. So even though, yes, we have spiritual knowledge, but when people go through things, it is, you know, she's there for people knowing that, we still a human being, you still would have feelings of a bit of sorrow and things like that. So she was very real. So she was just made sure I was okay until I got home.
yeah, there's
So
some
it was
practical
nice.
aspects to it as well,
Yeah,
isn't it? So,
yeah,
yeah, that someone needs to take care of those things also.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Mm. So you are fortunate to have her with you and have the knowledge. So both helped in different ways,
yeah.
supported you at that time.
Appreciated that concern, yeah, that someone can still have regardless.
Yeah.
And of course the knowledge, how it can kick in at the right time without knowing that, how much it can help me go through situations.
Yes.
Yeah,
And also the difference you might have seen in the, all the relatives who had come, and some of them might have experienced, ups and downs, or when they
yeah,
got the news.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's just practical proof of how spiritual, if you have that awareness and truth within you, you experience a different state of mind, though the situation is the same. So you're safeguarded in a
yeah.
way.
But I I just appreciated everyone there in the family and getting to see the qualities of each one, how they handled and how caring or compassionate this one is and that one, and it's get to see all the beauty of each one, that because sometimes you don't get to spend that much time with family, but in cases like this, when everyone comes together and there's a lot to talk about and make arrangements for, then you get to see how some are so caring, so sweet, and so understanding. And so that whole experience I felt was so sweet. So sweet.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And if it's okay, shall we have a few moments of meditation? So we get a little sample of that experience ourselves as well.
Om Shanti. I sit quietly. I turn inwards. I visualize the point of light, the source of energy that I am. I am located in the center of my forehead. I am a being of light. In this awareness, rays of light extend into my physical body, and the light soothes and heals and energizes my entire physical system. The body becomes calm and relaxes. All the tension melts away, and the body becomes quiet and peaceful. And now my mind becomes free to go into the depth of the inner being. Already, the speed of my thoughts has slowed down. And now, I choose not to let my thoughts be distracted by the physical body, not to look at the scenes outside, nor to listen to the sounds outside, but to focus on that which is within my own inner being. I can feel peace within myself. I discover I am peace. Peace isn't something outside of me. Peace is within me. I can savor the sweetness of the feeling of peace. Peace is my own natural quality. This is how I used to be. And now that I know this, I am this. And I can be this whenever I choose. In this awareness of peace vibrations of peace extend into my entire physical system. And my body returns to a state of harmony, a state of good health. The vibrations of peace spread out into the room, and from this room out into the world. And with every thought of peace, I make a contribution towards peace in the world. Om Shanti.
So thank you so much, May, for sharing your story today. It was really inspiring, and hope it has inspired our viewers to know more about what spirituality is and understand the depth and how important it is. So it's been a great session today. Thank you. And if our viewers would like to know more, please do visit our website, which is www.brahmakumaris.org.au. The details is available on the screen, as you can see. And we'll join you again in 2 weeks' time with another interesting story. So till then, stay tuned, take care of yourself, and stay happy. Om Shanti.